Thank you. This is the first time I'm in the first session after the keynote, so I feel pretty privileged. Although I don't know if I should skip the talk now that co-scientist is here. So should I give the talk or not? Okay, let's give the talk just for the purpose of lesson learned. This experience, I'm going to call it, started 8 months ago in the intersection of a collaboration between two labs, the Ghobrial Lab at the DFCI, who study multiple myeloma, and the GETS Lab at the Broad Institute that study genomic research. So I decided that it was a very good place to go and help the lab to build the platform that they needed. I'm going to start warming up with a few news that I will share, and maybe nobody cares, but I'm the speaker, so I will share anyway. Jump into a nostalgic journey, because I think that we should remember where we come from. To actually do the contrast of things that never change, and maybe they will remain like that forever. So you understand why I'm here, and how I try to work in the new era of AI. One thing, if you just want to play the game, and you know everything that I'm going to say, I use AI for many of my slides, and of course, it hallucinated a lot, but I left a few because they were so funny to me that I decided to leave it. So you can tell me later if you think one of them is an hallucination. The other thing is that I thought late in time that my title maybe will mislead you to what I'm going to present. This is not about super robust pipelines that run everywhere, no. This is about fixing a problem in a specific environment fast enough for discovery to keep being faster. So no NF core compliant at all, but it works, reproducible, with our data in our environment. So let's go with the news to share. This may be my last talk in the Boston Summit. Maybe for a while, maybe ever, who knows, life is unpredictable. After 12 years in Boston, growing with all this community, really, I'm coming back to Barcelona. And if you look at the weather today, maybe you know why. It's okay, it's not that bad. But I will be coming in July there. So I just wanted to share that. If people are based on Barcelona that I don't know, I would like to reconnect. And as well, because I'm leaving, we are looking for somebody who continue this work in this lab. So if you really love to work in a hospital environment where you impact patients directly, and you like data organization and pipeline development, please come talk to me, because we are looking for somebody. And let's move to nostalgic journey. So I have been in bioinformatics for almost 20 years now. That sounds crazy. So long enough that actually the contrast between when I started to now is almost absurd at this point. So I will say in 2008, I was fully into bioinformatics. And maybe for some of you don't even recognize this, but it was that time that you spent time knowing and looking for what workstation you should buy to keep in your desk next to you, and what to extend the workstation with memory RAM and all that. And my monitor, my screen looks like exactly like that, where I had like several terminals with the console, the code. Maybe you were using Emacs and Beams already. I remember still this plot from R, like plot 1, 2, 3, that you have to be open it. But now, 2026, and it's totally different. And this is all like 3 to 5 to 7 VS Code windows with Claude running behind the scenes. I jump 3 minutes into each other to see what the agent is telling me, how things are. I'm thinking about what agents to use, what skills to use, what memory, how to do prompting. Is XML prompting a real thing that works better than other prompting? And it's really crazy. And I really cannot describe with words what it means to be this year in bioinformatics. So I'm trying to transmit the feeling with 2 images. So this is the moon, right? Silver, beautiful moon. With the years, we have seen like better resolution of the moon. But then 2026 came. Artemis 2 went to the moon with the tripulation, came back, and we got this. Like colors in the moon. It's like, what is this thing? And it's amazing. I haven't thought about that. And it has an explanation. They are minerals. At the same time, it doesn't look like that, really. This is like a very enhanced images. If you look at the raw image, it will be much dimmer. But nevertheless, it's something very new and fascinating. And I think that is the best metaphor I can find for these models, where you really are in a new world, but they make it look like brighter than it is. But it's okay. I like pretty images. But for all this change, there are things that never change. And this is why I'm here. So I joined this group. This is a group that data and infrastructure look like that. They spent 6 years like crazy generating data about patients, all type of technology, several postdocs and instructors. And there was the time that they couldn't find where things were anymore. So I say, okay, I can do that. I built platforms, so let's go there. And then, of course, it was much bigger than I thought. And this is not the first time I'm in this position, and I don't know if it's going to be the last time. But I don't know if models at some point will do science by themselves, but I don't know if this will change ever. Maybe we need to remove human from the very beginning. Maybe there it will be different. So what happened, that as well is the same, is that it's expected that one person do every role. Like a platform has a lot of different parts, right? So you have sysadmin, developer hats, engineer hats, analyst hats, and now it's even like, well, you have all these models, you can be any of them, so just do it. And it's like, okay, I can do it. And the particular problem I found is that this lab really have like hundreds of samples, thousands of samples, cohorts that they like make up, mix up. And they go into meetings and they came back and say, oh, we need to test this tool because there is this hypothesis that it could give us this target or this new science. And we need the tools and the pipeline to run in not 1 or 2 samples, like all these hundreds of samples, and big files, because there are whole genome sequencing files. It's not like only small files. So suddenly I was in the middle of me being the bottleneck of building new pipelines for these people to make discovery. And of course, we are now with this new technology, and I said, okay, let's try to accelerate that and remove that bottleneck. And I submitted for this summit the talk, and I say, well, I cannot come here and just talk about my journey, because I like to do a little bit more of a critical thinking here and do a scientific experiment. So I really compare all the job I put 8 months ago, that by the way, there were things that were not available when I started, to what I have now. And should I just throw everything, because I don't need to solve this problem anymore. So I created this experiment that is, let's build a pipeline, same prompt, in 3 different scenarios. And that was like in March with the new Sequera client. So I didn't know about co-scientists, so I don't know what will happen with co-scientists. But same pipeline, real case scenario. This was a tool that is not easy to install. You need to do the container. It's a pain in the ass, the container. It's not some tools or any of these things that is already solved. And it has documentation, but not super great. So I said, okay, I'm going to try with Claude alone. I'm going to try with Claude and Sequera AI skills. And I'm going to put my agents on behind and see what happened in the 3 cases. This was 3 weeks ago, so probably now it's different. So First case, this is the prompt. 7 minutes planning, I think that it helps. 4 minutes building, and I got in 2 hours human in the loop. That I decided to stop because I used all my credits by that time. What happened is that I got the Docker and test data with a lot of interaction from my side. It failed the local run. I didn't get to run it in the Google Cloud. Okay, what happened with Claude AI? 5 minutes planning, 4 minutes building, quite a lot less time, and actually it worked. I have the same issue with Docker, right? I mean, this is just a nasty tool. But local run, I didn't do anything, it fixed everything, it got running. And Google Cloud, it got running, it's just that with the configuration, it wouldn't work right away. I will need to configure the input-output for big files. And then I tried Trinity, that is what I decided to call my infrastructure. And if you don't get the reference, probably you are too young for that. But it mainly needs a sentence saying, build this Nextflow pipeline. Now planning, because that's the whole point of writing less and do more. After 50 minutes, I saw this. You know, I went to do other things, and I came back. And I don't know what you're thinking right now, but I was like, something is wrong with this. I don't blame you think I'm making things up. I didn't make anything up, but I went to the history of the chat. And what happened is that I had this agent checking for Docker containers available in my registry. And because I did a previous 2 experiment, the Docker was there. So it's like, OK, I don't need to do anything. So the Docker agent just went up to the next 2 steps. And that was what happened, just like context. So basically, Trinity is a script that has a template that works very well with our environment. Claude AI skills, Docker resolve skills to check for Dockers, and 4 agents to make everything happen. It's all context, it's all my knowledge there for things that I know that will work in our case. So no magic, just information. A few technical tips, if you want to know. I discovered that the skills need to be put in the sub-agent. If you don't want to, the sub-agent just stop after the using a skill. And this is a recommendation from Claude. But it took me a little bit to figure out. And the amount of yelling I had to do in my agents and skill was amazing. It was like a lot of stops, never fails. I don't know what it says about us as a society that the models needs to be yelled at, but it works, so I would recommend it. More general takeaways is that really Claude AI streamline a lot the Nextflow coding. Containers are still a pain in the ass. It depends on the tool and documentation that is available, right? It's like they cannot do magic. Rules are context, rules, all that is what really matters to make your agents efficient. And in my case, autonomy versus efficiency was the goal. It was not about I don't want to do anything. It's like I need a pipeline as fast as possible because I need to be running this fast. So for other people, this may be a different case. But I got it to really build pipeline in under like 50 to 20 minutes and get it running and give them results in the next day. But it was really a good thing to do. And now, this timer countdown is killing me. 1 minute, OK, I have a minute. I will let you go with one last thing since it's my last summit in Boston. For the people who maybe feel like I feel sometimes where the work that you're doing sometimes, that this one or maybe other, it just feels like maybe it's really not impacting your career path or what is your next move. And that triggers a feeling that is so comfortable, right? Because everybody wants to really move forward in their career. I will share what I tell to myself. to make you feel that what you do is worth it, and is that what you do matters because it matters to you. And I really believe that this principle will make everybody to stay in the right path for everybody, a path that is unique to each of us. So embrace uniqueness. Thank you for listening.